Hello, my wonderful people. I hope you're enjoying this festive period. It's been a wonderful time for myself and my family, and I hope, at your hand there too, it's been a wonderful time for you and your families too. If you've been following us on this channel, you will realize that last week we posted, about Putin signing a bill into law that gives life immunity to ex-presidents and their families. So right about now, the same Russian president signs series of new laws. So without much ado, let's opt into it. So what are the new laws? Yes, put in place again aside the life immunity given to ex-presidents and their families. So President Putin on Wednesday has signed some 100 bills into law ahead of the New Year holiday, ranging from new restrictions on protest and online information to the return of Soviet-era sobering up stations. Here is an overview of all the latest legislation. The first one here is restriction on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. So Russia Federal Media Watchdog now has the right to block internet platforms such as YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter if they are found to discriminate against Russian media. The law signed by Putin also allows Russia to impose retaliatory sanctions for censorship of Russian media on foreign internet platforms. In an explanatory note attached to the bill, its authors wrote that authorities have been receiving complaints from Russian media this year that their account has been censored by foreign internet platforms such as Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Earlier this year, the U.S. tech giant introduced libel for state-affiliated media outlets. Also, another bill signed into law is protest restriction. Putin also signed new restriction on public protest. Protest restriction. Putin signs new restriction on public protest, allowing Russian courts in some cases to recognize queues for a single picket as rallies. The changes also prohibit rallies in front of emergency buildings and impose additional restrictions on journalists covering the protest. Under the new law, journalists are prohibited from campaigning for or against the goals of a public event, organizing or holding it, or organizing the collection of donations and signatures, as well as participating in discussions and decision-making. In addition to this, journalists are prohibited from hiding their press badges and other items that identify them as a member of the press. The third bill signed into law is also prohibiting leaks of secret agent personal data. Sharing personal data and information about the work of intelligence officers, law enforcement agency, the military, and judges is now a criminal offense under a law Putin signed on Wednesday. Previously, intelligence officers' personal data was only protected in the case of direct threat to their security and health. The amended law also extends the protection to officers' family members. The law comes on the heels of a recent media investigation led by Bellingcat and CNN that revealed the names, photos, and phone number of SSB FSB officers alleged to be involved in the poisoning of Alexei Navalny. Also, more personal data. Another law Puttin signed on Wednesday prohibits the use of personal data in the public domain without the owner's consent and gives citizens the right to ask to take their personal information down. Under the law, publishing one's personal data requires the individual's consent, which must include a list of the online platform where the information will be published. Also, Puttin approved amendments to the criminal code that would make spreading libel online a criminal offense punishable by up to 2 years in prison. The same punishment will be applied for those found guilty of defamation against several persons, including individually undefined. The amendment expands the types of punishment for the Criminal Code article on libel. Currently, the punishment includes fine and compulsory labor. The new charges will add imprisonment, forced labor, and arrest to this list. Bloggers who publish news on Telegram channels popular with Russian language readers could be impacted by the changes. Any political, active, foreign-funded information and organization working in Russia may now be labeled a foreign agent. So, under a law signed by Putin on Wednesday, foreign-funded individuals who gather information on Russian military or military technical activities can also be labeled as foreign agents. Individuals and groups recognized as foreign agents are required to report their activities and face financial audits. Under the new law, organizations labeled foreign agents are required to submit quarterly financial documentation to the Justice Ministry. Putin also signed the law allowing the privatization of land located within towns and villages inside the economic zone of Russia's national parks. An analysis of law enforcement practices previously concluded that current legal protections for national parks significantly restrict the constitutional rights of citizens living on their territories and prevent local government from constructing hospitals, schools, kindergartens, and from resettling dilapidated housing. Putin also signed a law that would return Sobrin Hub Station to Russia for the first time since 2012. Starting January 1st, Russian police officers will be allowed to pick up severely drunk people from the street and take them to one of the stations to return to sobriety. The average night at a Sobrin Hub station, which is normally equipped with beds and medical personnel, costs about 1,500 rupees, that is $20. The state-run RIA Novistik news agency reported. Officers will be expected to take judge whether an individual has lost the ability to independently move or navigate the environment. Based on that assessment, officers will be able to transport the person to a facility